Good morning. Today, I would like to go over the trigonometry overview from physics point of view, and actually rhymes also. So we are incorporating English also. Anyway, so what do you need to know? So from our physics point of view, things that you must absolutely know, okay, are the following. So vectors, okay, to you are going to be like sides of a right triangle. So we are always trying to find 90 degrees angles, okay? So if this is your coordinate system, okay, and you happen to have a vector in this direction, okay, your job is to find a 90 degrees angle, which is actually super cool because like we said last time, we only know how to go either horizontally or vertically. Okay, so in order for me to go from this point to this point, because I only know how to go horizontally or vertically, okay, then I would have to find, if this is my vector v, I will have to find the vector, the component vx and the component vy. Now, I hope we understand the meaning of this. So let's try to see, for example, if this is the plane, okay, the plane is right here. And so let's put it like this, okay? And this is your vector, okay? So you're going from here to here, okay? So the only thing you can do, okay, is to basically find the shadow of this vector on the plane, okay? So you will see probably if it was wind, I mean, very, very sunny, let's put it like that, you will see a component horizontally, okay? The shadow here, you see the shadow, okay? So you will have this little shadow here on the plane, okay? So this and this, okay? So you know how to go horizontally, you know how to go vertically. You do not know how to move straight like this, okay? So let's say we are creatures, okay, that are not smart, so we don't understand how to go, slanted. So I got to go from here to here. I do not know how to go through this line. I only know how to go horizontally first and then climb on the ladder vertically. Okay, so this is my horizontal and this is my climbing on the ladder, okay, vertically. So again, I got to go from here to here. I can go on the plane, okay, up to the point where I see this perpendicular to me, okay, perpendicularly, and then I can climb on the ladder. That's all I can do. Walk up to this point, okay? So look up, you walk in here, you always look up until you're perfectly perpendicular with this point, and then you go up, okay, up to the ladder. So that's what you're doing. You're going all the way in this direction and then up to the ladder, okay? So when you walk on the plane is your x component, because we call this x, okay? And then you go up to the ladder, because which is going to be your y component, because we call this y. Now, don't be stuck, okay, with the labels x and y. I can call this P and this V, okay, pressure and volume. I can call volume and temperature. But whatever I call it, okay, is going to be the horizontal component and the vertical component, okay? Once we got this in place, okay, we have options. We could know, for example, the measurement of this component, the measurement of this component, and then everybody knows Pythagorean theorem, okay, Pythagoras, I think you say, theorem. So this is 5 centimeters, for example. This is 7 centimeters, okay? How much is this going to be? So if you know no trig, okay, you would do, for example, your Vx squared plus your Vy squared. You got to square root this in such a way that you have your V, okay? So this you must know, right? So this is your Pythagoras. Pythagoras, I don't even know how to spell it. Pythagoras, maybe like that. Again, I'm Italian, so my spelling is different from yours. Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so you can say it in fancy word like the square built up on, probably in geometry, that's how you say it, right? So you have this line here, okay? So you say those are the sides, okay? Probably you call this A, this B, and this C. Usually, I guess that's what you do. So you do A squared plus B squared, you square root it, and you will find your C, okay? So this means you have a square here. So this means if you have A square, you build A square, okay? If this is A, this is also A, which means the area is going to be A squared. You do the same thing here. You build this square, okay? And you build, and this is B and B because it's A squared. So the area, okay, is going to be B squared, okay? So you can say in this situation that A squared, so this area plus this area, okay, no matter what you do, you build another square here, okay? If this is C, this is also C, okay? So this area, okay, is going to be C squared. So this area plus this square, this area is going to be equal to this area. Okay, so this is what that means. So this is just geometric stuff, okay? So if you want to know how C is instead of C squared, obviously you take the square root of this, which means you take the square root of this and this, which means this is C, right? Again, if you need help even with this, let me know, but I think this is pretty elementary. I mean, I guess everybody knows that, okay? So in our situation here, okay, this is your 5, okay? So you do your 5 squared, okay, B squared, okay, plus this other side squared. This is equal to your V squared, whatever that number is. So you will do your 25 plus 49, okay? This is going to be your V squared, okay? So how much is this? 6, this is 74, okay? This is equal to V squared, which means the square root of 74 is equal to the square root of V squared, which means V. So this is not tricky yet. So this is just basic geometry, okay, or algebra, okay, whatever you do, this type of stuff. So if this is true, then we know that if we have component and component, we can find this because this number is going to be square root of 74, okay? So let's go a little bit ahead. So now you know, and please watch the video, okay? If you're one of those people that actually are watching it, tell the other people they must watch it, okay? Otherwise, probably they don't want to do physics, right? So now let's go back, okay? Let's try to find different numbers. What can we find in such a way that we have easy numbers? I don't know. So if this, so let's find it out. So if this here, for example, is 6, okay? So this means the 6 is equal to the square root of 36, okay? So our job is to find, for example, this component and this component. So again, you walk across all the way until you raise your head and you see this point. At that point, climb the ladder and you go up to here. So this will give you your component X. This one will give you your component Y. Now, suppose that you have everything, okay, that you're still in the geometry realm, okay? So if this component, for example, is 3, okay, how much would this one be? Well, we just said before, okay, that the formula says V squared, so the horizontal component squared, plus the vertical component squared is going to be equal to your C component, right? So this is equal to V, okay? So this is going to be your V squared, okay? Which again, if we take the square root of everything, okay, this will be equal to V. Now we know that this is 6 from here, okay? We know that this is 36, right? The V squared. So let's rewrite it one more time like this, okay? Plus V squared equal to V squared. So now we know if this is V, okay? This inside here is v squared. So that we take v squared, which is the 36. You take the square root and you find 6, okay? So v squared is 36. What else do we know? Well, we know that this is 3. So 3 squared is 9. So now you have 9 plus this component squared, which we don't know the value of, is equal to 36. So how do we find this? Okay, elementary, Watson, right? So now you go 36 minus 9. This is equal to v squared, okay? So this should be 25, which means your vy is equal to 5. Too fast? So how do you isolate this? This is what you don't know, right? So you got to take this 9 and move it away, okay? So if you're moving this one away, what is the only option that you have to take a 9 away from here? To remove it, right? Remove it if this is your equation, 9, okay, plus by squared equal to 36. How do you take this one away? So this is a plus 9, right? If I don't write anything, it's plus. So take the 9 and remove it. So then now this is a 0, right? So, but removing it means you got to remove it from both sides because this is equal. Equal means whatever you do on this side, you got to do it on the other side also. Otherwise, they are not equal anymore. So if I am removing 9 from here, I got to remove 9 from here also. Okay, so now this is your 25, which is what I wrote there. So now you have your vy squared equal to 25. You will take the square root of both sides. So now this is vy equal to 5. Okay, so now we know that this is 5. So if that was too fast, the good thing about videos is that you can keep on playing it, okay, in such a way that you can hear the same thing over and over until actually it makes sense, okay? So now this is all I can do with geometry. Now, another thing that now I can do starting working with the trig, okay, is I can find this angle because trigonometry is super cool with angles. How much would this angle be? Well, if I have a side and another side, okay, and I know that this is 3 and this is 9, okay, and I also know that this, again, we are talking about 90 degrees triangles, right? So this is a right triangle. What am I saying? So 3, this is 5. We just said that, yeah, we just said that this is 5 and this is 6, okay? So we have the option, okay, to be able to find this angle, even this angle. This one doesn't matter because we know it's 90, right? So cool thing about everything that we said, the hypotenuse is obviously we call this hypo, I'm sorry, hypotenuse, okay? So hypotenuse. So this is your hypotenuse. The hypotenuse has to always be longer than any other side because we said the square of this plus the square of this is equal to this. So obviously this side is the biggest one, okay? If you mark that this is smaller of any other one, obviously you're wrong. So you got to recheck your measurements or your positioning. Okay. So if this is the sets of elements, okay, how do we find this angle here? So let's call this angle alpha, okay? I will use a lot of, usually, I mean, we use a lot of Greek letters. In particular in physics, what we use is definitely alpha, okay? This little, looks like one of those, the cancer-free, breast cancer signs, okay? So you put it like this is a gamma, okay? You put it like this is a alpha. So this is alpha, okay? Then you're going to be this little twirling thing in the B, okay? So this is beta, okay? I don't know if in English you put the H there. And then we always use, okay, we use the gamma, okay? Like the gamma rays. Another one that we use is this thingy here, which is a theta. So those are the most common one, okay? But physics uses a lot of Greek letters, almost all of those at some point, okay? Another one that we are going to use is this one, the U with a little leg there. Okay, so this is the micro, like microwave, stuff like that. You need that. And eventually we will use other stuff. Anyway, this is your alpha angle. Okay, so if you have, so gamma, oh my gosh, what is it? Trig people, okay, just math people, I should say. They use this, what do you call it? Cos. I can think you have some acronym there, okay? But basically, if this is your hypotenuse, okay, let's call it H for hypotenuse right now, okay? And I want to find the X component. Now, this is how I teach it to my students, okay? And you are my students, so that's what I'm going to say to you. If I imagine, okay, so let's have this thing here, and let's suppose that this is your bed, okay? And you're sleeping right here, okay? So this is you sleeping, legs, arms, okay? So this is your sleeping. Now, this is uncomfortable. I mean, the majority of the people, not me, I like to sleep without a pillow, but usually people have a pillow here, okay? So if you have a pillow, you're going to be super elevated here, right? So you're going to have this thing here, okay? This is going to be your pillow, okay? Pillow is also called cushion, right? Okay, so if this is your cushion, this is going to be your hypotenuse, okay, times the cosine because it's a cushion, cosine alpha, okay? So this is your H that is holding the pillow, okay? So this H, cosine, cushion, alpha is going to be your horizontal component, horizontal, okay? So this one, okay, this is where you're sleeping right here, okay? This is the cushion holding your head. So this is going to be 6, which is your H, cosine alpha. Oh, SOHCAHTOA, that's what people say, okay? SOHCAHTOA. But this is your hypotenuse. So this side here is equal to hypotenuse cosine alpha. This side here instead is going to be your hypotenuse sine alpha. Now you're looking, okay? So this is you, okay? How do I make the eye? So you see how the shape is, right? This is the shape of your eye, okay? The eye here. This is your, oh my gosh. So this is your eye. I'm trying to make something like this. This is your eye, okay? And you're looking, okay, at the angle, okay? So this is you, okay, looking at the angle. Because you're losing it, okay, this is a sin. Don't look at it, okay? Looking is a sin. So 5, okay, which is this number here, 5 is going to be equal to your hypotenuse sine alpha, okay? So let's try to do this a couple of more times, and then we can say how much is alpha, okay? So your triangle, okay, is like this. Let's say that you have here a value, whatever this number is, like the 74 from before, okay? So this is square root of 74. How much is this? Let's just do it. 74 square rooted is equal to 8.6. So this is 8.6, okay? So how much is this value here? So let's say that, let's make it a number, obviously smaller than this. So let's say that this is 7, okay? If this is 7, how much is this? So we got to look for the Vy, okay? So we will do our A squared plus B squared equal to C squared. So A squared, okay, this is A, which is your Vx, okay? Let's recall it, Vx plus Vy equal to V squared. Vx is 7 times 7, 49, plus Vy y squared, we don't know, so they forget the square, equal to this squared, which is 74. Okay, so how do we do this? We got to remove this. Remove this means minus, okay? So minus here gives you the 0, so I'm not rewriting it, okay? Then I got to also put it here. So 74 minus 49. If I remove 49 from here, so I remove it, okay? You don't see it anymore. I'm removing it from this side also. This one stays, okay? So how much is 74 minus 49? So this is 25, okay? So which means your Vy is equal to the square root of 25, which is 5. So this number is 5, okay? Once we have that, how do we calculate the angle? Okay, so we got to solve for alpha. Okay, so on this side, what can we say? So first thing we can say is that Vx is equal to, so this is your cushion. So it's going to be this number here, whatever it is, cosine alpha, okay? And then the second thing that we can say is that this number here, whatever it is, okay, Vy is going to be, so that's, you're looking at your alpha, so that's a sin, okay? So 8.6 sin alpha, okay? So also, okay, so don't write equals where they don't belong. So new expression, Vx is equal to 7. So 7 is equal to 8.6 cosine alpha. Here, Vy is 5. So 5 is equal to 8.6 sine alpha. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's leave the alpha hanging so that we can go back and solve for alpha. But let's do one more. So triangle. Okay, so let's say that this is 89. No, no, 81. Okay, so square root of 81 is 9. Okay, if this is 9, let's say that this is 4, just because I feel like saying 4. Okay, how much is this? How do we calculate it? Again, let's go back here. So v squared, so x component squared plus y component squared is equal to the v squared, the hypotenuse squared. So x component squared, 4 squared 16 plus this one, I don't know, so this is your variable, equal to your v is 9, squared is 81. So how do I find Vy? So Vy, I don't have it ready because I have 16 there. Let's take it away. So remove it. If you remove it, it's not there anymore. So Vy squared equal to 81. I removed 16 from here. I got to remove it also from here. Okay, so now we know that Vy is equal to 81 minus 16, which is equal to 65. Okay, squared. Okay, so this means that your Vy is equal to square root of 65. Okay, so this is square root of 65. And square root of 65 is 8.06. So let's round at 8.1. Okay, so now we have every single one of those sides. So one thing that I can say is that the x component, okay, is equal to the hypotenuse times the cosine, because this is your cushion, alpha. The Vx instead, Vy instead, is equal to your hypotenuse, 9, okay, times, so we're looking at this one, so the side is equal to the hypotenuse sine, because you're looking at your angle, you're looking at it, it's a sin, okay? So also, what can we say? Vx, oh wait, I know how much Vx is. So this is 4 equal to 9 cos alpha. This one, Vy, I know how much it is, right? So 8.1 equal to 9 sine alpha. So now we know how to calculate the y component and x component if we have the hypotenuse. Okay, now from here, how do I solve for cosine alpha? How do I solve for alpha? So first of all, when you want to solve for something, always isolate the something. So we want to have something like cosine alpha equal to, well, 8.6 is multiplied to cosine alpha. So if I don't want this multiplication to happen, I cannot just remove it because this is not added. I got to divide, right? So let's divide both sides, okay, by 8.6. So if I divide this one by 8.6, this is a 1. So now I can write cosine alpha alone, but I got to divide 7 also, right, by 8.6. Okay, so in this case, what do I do for this one? Again, I don't want this, so I divide 8.6 by himself, okay? So by 8.6. So then now 8.6 over 8.6 is 1. So now my sine has a 1 in front of it. So sine alpha equal to, but if I'm dividing this, I got to divide this also, right? I divide this, I got to divide this also, right? So this is a 1, so I don't write it anymore, equal to 5 over 8.6. Okay, so let's save it. Let's do this one also. So I want to have only cosine alpha. I have the 9 multiplied by it. Okay, so let's remove it. Divide by 9, divide by 9. Okay, this is a 1, so now I have cosine alpha equal to 4 over 9. Same thing on this side, divide by 9, divide by 9. So this is now a 1, so I can write uh, this is not equal to, right? So this is an arrow. So this is sine alpha, now I write it alone, equal to the other side, 8.1 over 9. Okay, so now we're ready to finish this thing, right? So cosine equal to this, which means cosine equal to, what is it? 7 divided by 8.6 gives me a 0.81. And this one instead, sine alpha is equal to this, but this is also equal to 5 divided by 8.6 is equal to 0.58. Okay, so now I know cosine alpha equal to this, sine alpha equal to this. How do I take the alpha, okay, only because I have this cosine, okay, eating this alpha, okay, holding alpha. How do I remove? Well, I cannot just divide by cosine of nothing because cosine is just an operator, right? So how do I extract the alpha from here? Okay, so from here I can do, in your calculator you have not arc cosine because you don't see it in your calculator arc, but you see my calculator is an old one, but you see, well, you got to do the inv cosine, okay? So if I have the first number, for example, is 0.81, 0.81. I want to do inv cosine of this baby, okay? 0.81, inv cosine. I did second, I'm sorry. So 0.81 is inv cosine, sorry. Okay, and this will give me an angle of almost 36 degrees. Okay, so if this is 36, okay, sine alpha, we are looking still for alpha, right? So actually, let me rewrite this. Instead of cosine alpha, you got to write cos negative 1. I think that's what you have in your calculator of alpha, okay, equal to cos negative 1 of 0.81. okay? But anyway, you find 36, okay? So this is the angle. Now, if we did everything right, okay, because this is sine alpha, we're looking for the same alpha, this one should be also 35.9, okay, 36. So you will do 0.58, okay, and you got to do in sine because you're doing the sine there, and we have a 35.45, okay. Again, we have decimals, we rounded decimals here and there, so it makes sense that is a little bit off, okay. So you can say there is about 36 here also, okay. So we found the angle, so this is 36, okay. Now, what can we do with this? What kind of adjustment can we make? Well, not adjustment. Let's study this, okay? So we have the angle, we have the hypotenuse, we have every single side, okay? Now, let's suppose, like the majority of the times in physics, okay, that you have the hypotenuse, you have the angle, you do not have this side, okay? How do we solve it? Well, we just said it, okay? So Vx, if you do not have the value, but you want to solve for it, okay? We said Vx has to be equal to your hypotenuse, 8.6, cosine, because it's a cos, 36, okay? So how much is your Vx? Again, we keep on having errors of decimals, okay? Not mistakes, but errors, okay? So let's zero it. So you have 8.6 times parentheses, okay, 36 cosine, parentheses, and you have a 6.95, which is basically the 7 that we had before, okay? Same thing for Vy. Let's say that we don't know that is basically 5, okay? How do we do it? Well, we said you got to do 8.6, which is your hypotenuse, okay? Sine 36. How much is that about? Well, you do 8.6 times parentheses 36 sine, and it's 5.05. Okay, so you see you can go back and forth and you still find the components, okay? Now, when are you going to use stuff like that? Well, right away, first of all, but also imagine that you have a projectile problem. So this is you, for example, kicking the ball in your soccer field, okay, at an angle of 36 with a velocity of 8.6. How much is your x component? So how far will it go horizontally? How will it go vertically? Unless you have those numbers, you can't solve the problem, okay? So make sure that you understand this and that you are, one, able to calculate the components, two, able to calculate the angle, three, able to calculate the angle, able to calculate the components while having the angle, okay? So let's finish this one also. So here we were left with cosine alpha equal to 4.9. Now I'm start adding errors already, okay? Because you have 4.9, 4 divided by 9, okay? You have 0.44. I'm already cutting, I don't know if you see it. I'm already cutting decimals right there, okay? That's why your angles are not going to be exactly the same, okay? So 0.44, I'll stop right there, okay? How do I extract the cosine, the alpha from here? I got to do inv cosine on both sides, right? So basically, your alpha, okay, when I take the inv cosine of this is going to give me alpha. So alpha is going to be your inverse cosine of 0.44, okay? Which is basically what we were saying here, okay? So this is going to be 0.44. I want to do the inv cosine of the, he did, stop. I did second again. So 0.44 inv cosine and gives you a 63.9 degrees. Okay, so let's do the same on this side. Alpha from here, now this is a sine, so is inverse sine of 8.1 over 9, which is 0.9. Okay, so 0.9 if sine of this is equal to 64. Okay, 0.2. Again, makes sense that the angle is basically 64 for both. Again, we added rounding errors here and here, okay? So we got to find a average, basically almost between those two. So 64 sounds good. So alpha is equal to 64 degrees, okay? Now, if this is 64, and I pretend that I do not know this, how much is Vx? So Vx is equal to your hypotenuse. Vx is here the cushion, so cosine 64, which is equal to, so we should have a 4, right? So 9 times parenthesis 64 cosine, it is a 3.9, okay? So 4 makes sense, okay? And Vy instead is 9, your hypotenuse, you're looking at it, so it's a sin 64 degrees. I forget the degrees. So this is your 9 times parenthesis 64 sine. Okay, and this is basically 8.1. Makes sense, actually, 8.1. Okay, so, and we found again those components. Last thing, let's do one more review together. Okay, let's suppose that we really don't know anything. So what are you supposed to know? So if I have this triangle here, okay, and I'm telling you I have this side, okay, so this side is, for example, 10, okay, this side is, for example, 5, okay, how much is, that is so sad. Well, whatever. So how much is this instead? Again, just because you know that Vx squared plus Vy squared is equal to your V squared. So this is Vx, this is Vy, this is your V, okay? So Vx squared, I do not know, plus Vy squared is 5 squared, which is 25, equal to V squared, which is 100, okay? So how much is V squared, Vx squared? Well, I want to remove this 25, okay? Because it's added, I can just take it and remove it. So this is gone, so I got to remove 25 from here also. So this is 75, which means your Vx is the square root of 75, which means 8.7. Again, we're rounding. That's another reason why we'll not find exactly the same numbers, okay? So 8.7 is your answer, okay? So how much is the angle? So alpha, okay. So we know that this is 8.7, okay? So I want to calculate this and I have everything else. So I will do Vx is equal to V squared, I'm sorry, V, so your hypotenuse, okay, cosine alpha. Your Vy is equal to hypotenuse sine alpha. Sine because you're looking at it, this because you're sleeping with it, okay? Okay, so Vx is 8.7, okay, equal to V, which is 10 cosine alpha. I want to isolate cosine, so I got to divide because this is multiplied, right? So this will give me 8.7 divided by 10 is equal to 10 over 10 is 1 cosine alpha. This means that 8.7 divided by 10 is 0.87, right? And this is equal to cosine alpha, which means that alpha is equal to the inverse cosine of 87, which means 87.87 in cosine will give me an angle of 29.5. degrees, okay? For y, what do we know? Well, y, we know that is 5, equal to 10 sine alpha, okay? So this is basically 30 degrees, right? So we can say, so from here we can say alpha about 30 degrees. So let's keep on removing those decimals, okay? So here you have, we want to isolate sine. So let's divide by 10 because this is multiplied. I cannot just take it, right? So 5 over 10 is equal to sine alpha, okay? So 5 over 10 is equal to 1/2, right? So this is 0.5 equal to sine alpha. So this means that your alpha is equal to the inverse sine of 0.5. Okay, now this is going to be precise almost. So you have 0.5 in sine, and this is going to be your 30 degrees, right? So this is one of the angles that you usually always know. Okay, so, and we found again angle for this, they match. So this alpha is 30, okay? Now, one more thing, let's suppose that we do not have this number. Let's suppose that we not have this number. How do we solve for it? So if no value of Vx or Vy is given, then solve for it. Okay, so here we have, so how do I know? So basically you got to reuse this, right? But now you don't know this value, so you cannot substitute 8.7. So Vx is equal to V, we know is 10, cosine alpha. Oh wait, now I know that alpha is 30, right? Did I write 30? So this is cosine 30 degrees, okay? And Vy is equal to 10 sine 30 degrees. How much do we get? So 10 times, you will do, I keep on doing parentheses 30 and then cosine, but your calculator, I'm pretty sure you can just type cosine parentheses 30, right? So, and this is 8.66, okay, which means 8.7. And this other one instead is 10 times 30 sine. Okay, I know I don't need the parentheses in this calculator, and this is 5. Okay, so now we have verified everything. So homework for you, okay, will be, so worksheet, let's say, okay, basic trig. Tomorrow you're going to solve for tangent also, okay? So number 1, you have the triangle, okay? And you have, for example, 20, 15, you got to solve for Vx, okay? So A, solve for Vx. And then B, so what do we do? I lost it already. So solve for Vx. Once you have Vx in place, then I want you to solve for the angle. Solve for alpha, okay? So how much is alpha? Is this what we've done? So you solve for Vx first. Then you solve for alpha according to exactly this. I want you to do exactly the same thing that I did here, okay? So solve for alpha twice, okay? For x, according to x and according to y. So solve for alpha twice, okay? So how much is alpha according to Vx and Vy? I want you to write clean, okay? So clean, because in a little bit, you will be the one that doesn't understand what yourself are doing, okay, what you are doing, because everything will be all over the place. And then once you have alpha, so once you have alpha, find again Vx and Vy using alpha, okay? So just like that, okay? So find your Vx first, then find alpha according to this equations, okay, these steps, and find also alpha according to this. So you find alpha twice, okay? Then at this point, you will solve for Vx and Vy, pretending that you do not have those values, okay? So once you have find again Vx and Vy using alpha, okay? So this is number one. And then you will do also number two, again with the same thing, A, B, C, okay? And your triangle is now, I don't know, 73. This is 42, okay? And this is your Vx, okay? And let's do one more, okay? Vy, now you don't have, okay? So your number three instead, okay, is going to be still the same triangle, okay? Now you do not have this, okay, but you have this one that is 4.3 and this one that is 7.5. Okay, so this is point, this is point. So you have decimals also, okay? And you will solve everything according to A, B, and C, okay? Write clean, okay? You will lose points if your writing is not clean. If I have to struggle to try to understand what you're writing, it's not good, okay? I'm not stressing over trying to understand or try to figure out what number you're writing, okay? I don't have the option to just come close to your desk and ask you what you're doing or what the number is. So I will not have choices, okay, but to give you a zero in that, okay? So hope this long lesson makes sense. Hope that, it's making a little bit more sense the trig side, okay? At least for sine and cosine, and solving for those values and for finding alpha. Tomorrow we will do tangent. Thank you. Have fun.